Hey everybody, Bandit here, and today we're going to be going over an idea for a season thrown around in the community, and that is Survivor Heroes versus Villains 2. Now, of course, this isn't a new idea. We've seen Heroes versus Villains in season 20, and it's regarded as one of the best seasons of Survivor, but a lot of talk about having a cast of 21, of season 21 and beyond for Heroes versus Villains 2 season has sparked up. Now this video is going to assume season 40 would be Heroes vs Villains 2 instead of what we know will be instead all winners or winners at war. So let's get into the rules. So firstly, was previously mentioned, all survivors must be between season 21 and season 38. I'm not going to include season 39 as it hasn't finished yet, but I'll probably write something in the comments or make a new video changing out probably one survivor for a season 39 survivor, since usual traditions have one person from the season just before in the returnee season, like Russell going from season 19 to 20 or Malcolm from season 25 to 26. Next, as expected, if a player is likely blacklisted, doesn't want to play again, if they're from a while back and haven't been in the casting pool in quite a while, I will just ignore them. Also, these individuals should jump out to you as a hero or villain, quite self-explanatory. And finally, I feel like they should have a different archetype, especially with the spaces being overall really small, like 5 heroic males, 5 villainous females, etc. Apologies for taking so long, it's time to finally get into the seasons and pick out why I did include certain people. So we're gonna start off with my first pick on the list, and that is Andrea. And I put her down as a hero, and this is somewhat because of the limited casting pool of women that made the merge, since everyone in the original Heroes vs Villains made the merge. But I put down Andrea. I feel like some people might be against this decision, but I enjoyed Andrea in Game Changers, especially her rivalry after the merge with Zeke. And Cara Moen, she was in on a few things as well. Although it's her fourth time out, and I feel like we've had good spacing between Andrea's appearances, and I think she could provide some good content for the season. And the next person that I put onto the list was Sabrina as a heroic female. I mean, she was very close getting into Cambodia, and is also an absolute strategic mastermind. I would love to see her on a season where she wouldn't have to compete against Kim. She also fits to balance the teams, as she has only been on one season and has that one season of experience. But I feel like out of all the previous castaways around the time Sabrina competed, I feel like she'd retain the greatest strategic knowledge. And the next survivor will be in Survivor Philippines, and I actually casted a surprising amount of people for how old the season is. The first lock I feel for the Heroes vs Villains season is Malcolm. I can't see CBS not asking him. I can't see him rejecting the offer. And even if you are only a casual viewer of Survivor, you'd still probably know Malcolm. He's also a massive fan favourite and someone that constantly brings new and fun things to a season he's in. I mean, the Three Horsemen idol play was one of my favourites, and so is Malcolm, who is first heroic male. I then also decided to add Denis onto the list, who, as we've seen from Winners at War, is fit enough to pass medical, and I also feel is a really beloved character. She'd be the first winner on the heroes list so far, and I really tried to get 4 winners on this season total, like the original, as I feel like Denise is a good candidate for that role. I also added then the third person from Survivor Philippines, which was Abby Marie, as the first villain, and I think it's obvious why. I mean, the girl has no filter, temper tantrums, and it's all for our viewing pleasure. Apart from that, she is just the classic villain in Survivor. Pretty much everyone would say Abby if they were asked to name a villain in Survivor. She's so bad that even RC rejected a second chance, knowing that she would be on the panel. But then I continued on past Survivor Philippines, a little bit of a skip of season 27, and I fast forwarded then to Cagayan, where I picked Tony, and I think Tony is a lot, pretty much any All Star season to come. And maybe his early vote out in Game Changers might actually reduce his target this time. Tony is my favorite player of all time, not in regards to strategy, but just instead in general entertainment. I mean, we've got spy shacks, we've got spy bunkers. We obviously need a spy treehouse for the villainous king. I also then proceeded to add Kass as a villainous female because I mean it's just chaos. Kass, she'll just get into fights with pretty much everyone, and seeing anything close arguing and battle between her and Trish would just be absolutely amazing. The next pit stop is in San Juan del Sur, where I picked a surprising amount of people that originated on this season. First, of course, is Natalie Anderson joining Tony as the winners for the villains. She is probably one of the most badass winners with a great story about losing her sister first and then winning. And let's not forget idling out Baylor at the final five, which was just completely cutthroat. Then next, I decided to put down Kelly Wentworth. I added her too, although I do think she's somewhat overrated. But even I have to admit that she is the perfect fit as her heroine or heroine. Her game was in Cambodia was great, with just one challenge potentially stopping her from winning. And then there was also her idling Savage out of the game, which was just moi. And also, she didn't really do much in Edge of Extinction, which could be seen as a negative and a knock. But I still feel like her legacy in Cambodia overrides that. And on the topic of Cambodia, I also managed to squeeze in Keith Neal onto this season as well. And I would just love to see him for a third time. He's a very unique hero. With the guarantee he'll bring the laughs. He also completes the archetype for the older male, but unlike most other older guys, he isn't a burden in immunity challenges, as he's surprisingly good at them, especially physical ones. He's even beaten Joe from time to time, so I did end up adding Keith as well to the cast. And the next season then is Worlds Apart, where I controversially decided to pick Rodney to be on the villains team. I know Rodney is hated by a lot of people in the community due to his bullying, but to be on the villains team, you do have to be somewhat hated. Rodney gave me some Worlds Apart representation as well as a surprising strategic force, and of course, who could forget him washing dishes on his birthday? He's a crazy quote machine that needs to play again, in my opinion. I mean, half the things he said on that season were just absolutely hilarious. And for going back to the heroes, then I then went on to Korong and I proceeded to pick Tai Trang, who I could honestly see being the JT of the season by just flip flopping about on the Heroes tribe. And let's not forget, he's gotten five idols in the past 2 seasons of playing. So there's also more idol shenanigans to look forward to. Tai is also just an absolute adorable, harmonious individual. And I think he'll always say yes to any season available. I then also decided to add another Korong representative, and that is Kyle Jason. He did face a lot of competition from Scott on that season as well, but I feel Scott is a bit too similar to Rodney, and I'd rather see Rodney play again than Scott. That's just a personal preference. And KJ, although was a fairly despicable villain, But him having two young girls, one with autism that he was trying to win the money for, gave him a sweeter side to him and made him more of a balanced villain. I'd love to see him take the reins of an episode though, since I feel like we saw a second in command role played by him a lot, so it'd be nice to see him maybe be the leader in an episode or two, especially in Heroes versus Villains. That would be quite cool to see. But the only representative of Millennials versus Generation X that I put down was Jay Starrett, which I was tempted to replace with Chris, Brett, or even Adam on a season, but man, that Michaela Blindside made it for me. I think the main appeal of Jay was his youthfulness and therefore stupidity in some scenarios, but he's lovable, and there's always a bit of liking that we all show towards Jay because of his positive energy, and also playing for his mother who had a heart problem, I believe, was also very sweet, and it gives him the perfect backstory to return. And then Chrissy, then I feel is a very unique member to be on the villains tribe. For me, her backstory of being originally a hero that turns to the dark side is just something too good to pass up going into the season. I also won't lie, some of these later picks are just people that I wanted to see play again, with some, especially Chrissy, not making as high as a placement as I'd like to see. I mean, surely it wasn't me that was a bit unhappy with Ben's win. But we're gonna go then to another hard-hitting one-time villain with Dominic Abate, largely considered to be one of the best second place contestants. But going into his Ghost Island game, I mean, gosh, let's not forget all that happened. If we can get anything in this Heroes versus Villains 2 that's close to his rival with Chris Noble, that would be amazing. And I could definitely see some Boston Rob versus Russell Hans battle happen, except with someone like Tony and Dominic in this sort of season. Just an absolute powerhouse, man. I would love to see him again. And then also with the second place castaway, I also picked the winner of Ghost Island in Wendell Holland. With Wendell, that is my 4 winner limit capped. It has now been hit, and it gives the hero, sorry, their second Goliath. For me, in Ghost Island with Wendell and Dominic tag team, I always saw Wendell as the good cop. I mean, let's not forget how he literally had to set up an open communication between Dominic and Chris so they could stop going after one another. I think, unlike a couple of other heroes, Wendell still has the ability to make cutthroat moves, which could be enjoyable to watch, especially for our viewing pleasures. We love to see blindsides. But then from the David vs. Goliath season, I included Angelina, as I feel her legacy in David vs. Goliath was villainous enough to warrant her a return as a villain. It's no surprise that Jeff obviously liked her, and I think she'd say yes to every Survivor season should be offered. So I think she's one of the bigger locks on the season. Surprising thing I found when rewatching David vs. Goliath was that Angelina was actually pretty strategic throughout the game. I mean, it's just unfortunate she made some memes of herself, but whether this second we get the strategic version of Angelina or the funny version, I just wouldn't mind it either way. She's just a very entertaining character. I then also proceeded to put Christian down on the Heroes tribe as well, so another representative for David vs. Goliath, as I feel like he fills the archetype of the somewhat youthful, nerdy character, and is debatably the biggest fan favorite in the past few seasons. The immunity challenge where he talked to Alec Death was amazing and one of my favorites of all time. My only gripe with Christian as I feel like he may be one of the first boots. As in David vs. Goliath, he had to lean a lot on Davey and even a bit on Nick to save him. I mean, Davey even told him how to play his idol literally come the final 8. But hey, if we get about 3 episodes of Christian's humor, I'd be more than happy. I just love his confessionals. And so my final pick for the cast to wrap things up, and the last heroine, it was Victoria. Now, originally this spot was supposed to be for Jacqueline Schultz. I had her slide made out for this video, and also had the script all done. I had everything written for her, had my reasonings. Then this morning I thought over it, and I felt bad having no Edge of Extinction representation. It didn't feel right. Not also meant with Jacqueline on the cast, there would be 4 original Sam Delsa representatives, which would be quite a lot. So I picked Victoria because I feel like her getting so controversially voted out of the season deems her a slot at redemption, even though it could be an argument that she is a bit more of a villain than a hero. I feel like the villainesses I picked are more easily associated to being evil in comparison to Victoria, so that's why instead I put her onto the heroes. And Survivor producers just like to throw in an attractive young female in most seasons, and for that, I think that she satisfies her archetype, as well as having sufficient strategic knowledge to spice up the game. And it's undeniable, however, that Victoria is the wild card of the season, and there might have been better heroine choices, but I did not want season 38. I did want a season 38 representative, but due to there only being 14 original people, as well as those castaways having limited screen time because of the Edge of Extinction, I ultimately decided to put down Victoria to represent the season. So yeah. So after doing the 20 on my list between seasons 21 to 28, I might be making a follow-up video or making a comment on this video, flipping some people around, as usually there is one unknown brought on immediately after their season to play again, like Russell Hantz. So I can see myself making room for a contestant from the island of idols potentially. But to summarize, my dream cast for Survivor Heroes versus Villains 2 would be Andrea Bulkey, Christian Hubicki, Denise Stapley, Keith Neal, Kelly Wentworth, Malcolm Freeberg, Sabrina Thompson, Ty Trang, Victoria Baymond, and Wenzel Holland for the Heroes Tribe. And for the Villains Tribe, we've got Abby Maria Gomez, Angelina Keeley, Chrissy Hoffbeck, Dominic Abate, Jay Starrett, Kass McQuillan, Kyle Jason, Natalie Anderson, Rodney Lavoy, and Tony Vlachos. In my opinion, this cast of 20 is hard hitting, and it's guarantees to bring TV gold. But let me know in the comments what your dream cast would be. This is also my first video, so feedback into how I can make these videos better for you viewers would be greatly appreciated. I'm also gauging off views, subs, and likes if these types of videos would be worth it for me to make. So if you're enjoying, just give a like or subscribe if you do enjoy it. It's all appreciated. And thank you for watching. This is Bandit, and goodbye.